I don't want to make this video too long, but I wanted to pose the question, are periods more painful and more severe for black women? Because one thing I have noticed is that now that social media is available, more black women are able to share their experiences of their periods. And when they share their experiences, I've noticed that there are far more commonalities in the level of pain that black women, various different black women, suffer from compared to other races. So when I'm saying like African American women, black British women, black Caribbean women, etc., I have noticed that their experiences tend to be very similar despite living in different countries. And this is why I'm asking that question. Is it our diet? Is it genetics? Or is there something else going on there? I was just quickly browsing through two articles, two different black women speaking about their experiences of their periods. One woman was talking about how she started her periods when she was fairly young, so I'd say like early teens, like 13, 14, etc., which was the same age that I started. I started my period July 2001 when I was 13. And it's now January 2020, so I've been having periods almost 19 years. And the simple fact that this first woman that was speaking about her periods when they first started, she would have cramps during the PMS stage, and she would be able to take like a minor painkiller and that would be enough. But as she grew older, those minor painkillers just weren't enough. As she grew older, those minor painkillers weren't enough. So, it was like she was having to, come out of her school classes and go and sit in the sick room. We have these here in the UK, these sick rooms where you can go and lie down if you've been in an accident at school or whatever, but it's minor, so you go and sit in there to recuperate till someone can come pick you up. Or for me, like, even I remember one time I was cramping up so bad at school, at secondary school, that I had to go and lie down in that room because I missed basically my whole last class of the day because I was in that room until school was finished. Were that bad. And this is what I'm saying, and reading this woman's story is like the exact same thing. She had to stay in that sick room for like hours, missing her class. And then as she got older, she was having to take sick days off school because her cramps were getting even worse, so she was not physically able to go to school. And this is why I say men need to be very careful what they say about women when they say, oh, a period is a minor thing. For a lot of us, it's not minor. For a lot of us, we are dealing with severe period pain, and there's actually a terminology what's used to describe the period pain, which I've forgotten. Let me go search it up, and then I'll terminology to describe period pain, painful periods or menstrual cramps is called dysmenorrhea. It's basically pain during menstruation. Its usual onset occurs around the time that menstruation begins. Symptoms typically last less than 3 days. The pain is usually in the pelvis or lower abdomen. This is a fact. However, with my period, I typically tend to experience cramps when I'm still just going through the PMS stage. So the pre-menstruation stage is when I start my cramps. When I was younger, I never used to have cramps with my PMS, but I've noticed as I've gotten older, I get cramps with my PMS now, which is cramps aren't as painful as my actual period cramps, so I don't need to take any painkillers. However, it's more just like someone's punched you and you've got that kind of pain, so you go like that. It's like that. I remember the worst pre-menstruation cramp I had, because your uterus is contracting because it's getting ready for your period to start. The worst one I ever had was the day before I went to Dominican Republic in 2018. It was August 10th, and I remember this clearly because I was like literally going through like my pads and stuff, because I was just like I kept having that experience. I kept thinking that I was going to start my period before we went on holiday, but it didn't happen. And basically what happened was I just had this massive cramp, like just literally just made me jump because it was so fucking forceful. And I was in shock, honestly. I was in shock. It was horrible. Really, really horrible. And like, even though I've had cramps before with my PMS before my actual period starts, I've never experienced pain like that, so that just kind of knocked me off guard. And like, I don't get it all the time. I've noticed since I've been taking evening primrose oil, they've actually calmed down a lot. A lot of my PMS symptoms have calmed down a lot. My night sweats that I usually get with my period have calmed down. I don't get any night sweats now when I'm on my period. I get them on an odd occasion when I'm going through PMS, but it depends. It all depends on the day, Before I was getting these night sweats really, really regularly. Since I've been incorporating evening primrose oil into my diet, I can, like, last week I didn't have a single night sweat, which I thank God for. Even though I was PMSing like crazy, I didn't have a single night sweat. The only thing that sweated last week was my bloody forehead, because like my body just got hot, but I didn't sweat like on my whole body like I usually do. It was just my forehead, for which I'm thankful for. My breast still like hurt like shit no matter what I do. Like, I'm taking these, it's been like 3 months now. I'm going to do like a full video on it once I hit 6 months. But my breasts are like, 1 minute it doesn't hurt, next minute it does hurt. So I think it just depends on a month. I don't think I've been taking these long enough for it to have any effect on my breast pain during my cycle. I can say for now, evening primrose oil is helping a little, but I need to be taking it for far longer to see if it really is helping, or is it just my body just choosing to calm down on its own. So going back to what I was saying about period pain, a lot of black women dealing with period pain. The lady that I was talking about, taking days off school because her period pain was so painful. Eventually she went to the doctors and they did some blood tests on her, and it turned out she was anemic because of how heavy her periods were. And this is what I'm saying. Another thing I'm saying is, be careful what you say, because you saying like periods are only a minor thing. We're losing blood monthly, and thank God that some women don't have any pain at all, but those of us who do have pain, it's even more traumatic. Dread your period starting, because you know that even the PMS symptoms are going to be mad, absolute madness. And then when your period actually starts, you get in severe migraines, your period is heavy, you're cramping up like rotten. Like, my period started early this morning, this latest one. I had to take 2 painkillers before I had my cup of tea. Take 2 painkillers, and then I took some more painkillers around 4 o'clock, which have finally kicked in, because I noticed that the cramps were coming back. I didn't have any cramps this morning, but I noticed that the cramps were starting to come. So I said, you know what, let me just take these 2 painkillers now, because I really don't want to be dealing with it. And that's exactly what I mean. Like, you literally dread your period, and you literally dread those cramps. That we need to be mindful of is that black women in the UK and in America are far more likely to get fibroids. Now, fibroids can be genetic. They can also be caused by your diet. And they've also said that hair relaxers, have, because of the chemicals in them, have a link to the growth of these fibroid tumors that, you know, that grow within your uterus, grow within your uterine walls. So you need to be very careful. If you're going to be relaxing your hair, you need to be very, very careful that you making sure that you take all the necessary steps so you can try and avoid fibroids, because scientists are saying this, that hair relaxers can cause fibroids, and yet we still choose to use them. I called my GP surgery up, and I explained the situation. I've been having severe period pain for years now, years and years, having to take painkillers for my headaches, and then having to take painkillers for the period pain. It's like you can't win. It's like you take the painkillers because you're having severe period cramps, but then you get a massive headache as well. So then it's kind of a case of, I've literally just taken painkillers to get rid of my period cramps. I then can't take any more painkillers for at least 4 hours or more. So I'm stuck dealing with this massive headache. I literally cannot win. Like, I always get migraines with my periods, and it's at a point where, okay, if I'm taking painkillers for one thing, I know it's not going to get rid of the other thing. So it's kind of like I'm picking and choosing which pain I can deal with at one time. So I called up the doctors. He arranged me to have some blood tests and also to have an ultrasound to check my reproductive system to make sure that there was no fibroids, because he suspected I had fibroids because my periods are so heavy and because of the pain that I'm dealing with. But thank God it all came back clear, and my blood test showed that I'm fine. I'm not anemic or anything like that. They even know my periods are heavy, like they're not heavy to the point where I'm losing so much blood that I'm anemic. So I thank God for that, because my periods are only 5 days. I really feel sorry for the women whose periods are lasting 7 days, 10 days, 2 weeks, all this kind of stuff. If you noticing that your periods are lasting 7 days or longer, then call up your doctors. If you can, call up your doctors and see if you can get tested for polycystic ovarian syndrome. Even though I don't have it, I know for a fact that women who have polycystic ovarian syndrome, when they do have periods, their periods are longer and they're very heavy. So if your periods are presenting themselves like that, then go to your doctors and don't take no for an answer. Like, say, I want to get tested, I want to have a blood test, I want like an ultrasound. I want to find out what is going on, you know? Like, for me, everything came back clear. So there's not really so much more they can do, because like once you've had an ultrasound, like they made me drink a whole load of water so that they could see in my room clearly. And then the next bit, they put that long thing up in there, and I was just like, that, you know what, at that point I was over it. But at least then I was able to, before then, at least then I was able to relieve myself in the bathroom, because like my bladder was fucking finished. I'm gonna cope with pregnancy and having to deal with having constant ultrasounds and having to have like your bladder full. Like, no, so I didn't like it at all. It's so uncomfortable. It's like uncomfortable to the point where it hurts. Well, it hurt me probably because I'm just I don't like nothing like that at all. But yeah, so like I said, if you are presenting with any of those symptoms, if your periods are lasting far longer than they should be, please go to your doctors. Like, don't take no for an answer. Don't let these doctors take the piss, especially when it comes to us black women, because we are less likely to be believed. Make sure if you are not able to vocalize your feelings yourself, then have someone there who's an advocate. Your mother, aunt, best friend, whatever. And even though it's not my experience, even though like I do talk about my periods a lot, and especially with my mother anyway, like it's not my experience. Like she would talk about her periods, that she would, you know, faint, all these kind of things, and like, you know, having to take strong painkillers. Like the suggestion for me by my doctors years ago was me to go on the pill, and I did go on the pill for a little bit, and I also went on the mini pill. And I was on had the implant first, took it out because I didn't like it, because my periods were getting heavier, so I didn't like that. Then I was on the mini pill. No, then I was on the combined pill. Got taken off that because they said I was at risk of stroke. And then I went onto the mini pill, and I didn't like that either. So I just said, you know what? I don't take no form of artificial hormones in my system anymore. Yes, I could go back on the pill to help my periods, but a different pill than the one I was taking before. But honestly, I'd rather not. I'd rather just, you know, see what other alternatives I can help. Now, I did actually read somewhere that maca root powder is really good for helping with period pains and reducing the cycle a little bit. So that is something I'm going to consider. The only problem is, one of the side effects of maca root powder is it makes you extremely horny, and I don't know if I am going to be dealing with that, but we shall see. If I don't take the powder, then I may just get the pills, because it might just be more efficient for me to take the pills, because yeah, but we shall see. But see, it's a struggle to be a woman, honestly. It's a struggle to be a black woman. It's trying to explain to your doctors that you're dealing with a lot of pain, and they're literally not believing you. So it's kind of like, well, if they're not believing you, who else do you turn to then? Because if you're being honest, there's also a lack of black doctors, which does not exactly help the situation. And even if there is a black doctor, black nurse, they don't always sympathize with you. Sometimes they're so caught up in that white supremacist environment that they don't believe you either. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, because we say that we should have more black doctors, black lawyers, black nurses, etc., but they don't always believe us. So, you know, it's a difficult one, really, for too long about, you know, periods and things like that. So I'm going to end this video here. But as I said, you know, if you are dealing with periods that are lasting for a long period of time, please go to your doctors. Beg and plead them to actually listen to you. Don't take no for an answer. If you can, try and get a prescription of the strongest painkiller that they have. I was on naproxen before. Naproxen, I would be very careful with that, because it can basically destroy the lining of your stomach. So be careful with that. Only eat it with food. So that's what I always did when I was on it. I only ate it when I was with food, and it was actually really good. I probably should get my prescription refilled, because it did actually help with my period cramps, and it helped with my headaches as well. Plus, with naproxen, you can take it alongside normal paracetamol. So if you have a headache, you can take that. So yeah, it's a good idea. I shall wrap this video up here. Please let me know, black women, down below, your experiences of your periods over the years. Have they been severely painful? Have you gone to the doctors and not been believed? Hasn't anything been done about your situation? And do you feel that also that black women in general, you know, black mothers, etc., typically tend to feel that we should just get on with the pain rather than getting to the bottom of the pain? Okay, bye.